Welcome back to Mik'd Up. Coach Jay Johnson is on video call right now after another successful weekend. Welcome back, Coach. Well, good to have you.
Fellas, how you doing? Apologize for my voice.
No, look,
winner's voice.
I love, that is a winner's voice right there. I love that.
Locker room voice.
What a weekend! I obviously watched the games. You had a little nut cutter on Friday, 6-5, and then Saturday kind of one of those whatever games. It just kind of happens, and then on Sunday it was nice to see you guys bounce back. What was the message going to the team after Saturday, and then what did you like most seeing how they responded on Sunday?
Yeah, I think Saturday we didn't play well. I think you can really chalk it up to that. We walked like 8 guys from the mound. We haven't had too many games like that. We didn't play great defense, obviously. Made 3 errors, and they're a good enough team. They're going to capitalize when you do that, and that's what happened. So chalk it up for that. I mean, really yesterday was all about playing with enthusiasm and making sure it wasn't one of those trap, hey, we're on game 45, 46, road trip, we're tired. Like, your mindset's, the only thing that you can control. And, we had some adversity through the weekend, and I'm really pleased with how our team responded yesterday.
Coach, you talked a little bit about the walks on Saturday. Blake Money didn't get out the first inning. I don't think he recorded an out. You spoke a little bit on our show about how his stuff is there. He hasn't been throwing with conviction. You kind of, doubled down on that on air, talking about how he wasn't throwing his pitches with conviction. Conviction comes from within inside the athlete. What's your message to him? And is there maybe a change in mind, or is that a conversation that y'all haven't had yet?
Yeah, well, we're, as far as the mindset thing, I mean, I think I said this on the show before. I mean, that's going to be a 365-day deal for us in our program, is always working on mindset. And so he's got the talent. That's not a question. We're going to need him to do well in whatever role he pitches in. You might even see him tomorrow night. We're going to need some innings from some guys tomorrow night with, I think 23 of 27 innings were thrown by the bullpen this weekend. Yeah. So, you'll see him in the game tomorrow night. He's going to have to attack for us.
You mentioned the 23 or 27. We've talked about the bullpen a lot, but I think the bullpen has been, one of the bright spots coming into, or we didn't really know coming into the season, but it's been the bright spot for this year of how good they have been, how deep they've been, and how it seems like every weekend somebody steps up, someone different steps up and is able to carry the bullpen. Hasty has been unbelievable over the last 3 weeks. Obviously Gervais and Raiselman, all these guys have been good all year. I guess talk a little bit more about the bullpen, how good they've been, and how clutch they've been for you over these last 2 months.
Yeah, I'm very proud of them. I think looking at the fall and leading into the season, I thought the depth of our staff was the strength. I thought there was a lot of guys that can make a positive contribution. That doesn't mean they have to go 7 innings. I'd love to find somebody that could go 7 innings. It would simplify things, but if we got to go Tampa Bay Rays style for a while, that's what we'll do. I mean, I've had to do it before at Nevada and Arizona, and just because it's LSU, I mean, yeah, maybe we shouldn't have to do it, but that's what we have to do right now, so that's what we're going to do. And you got a lot of guys, that are doing a great job. I thought this weekend was the best Raiselman has thrown all year. Cooper came in and got us some big outs, kind of stemmed the tide once we took the lead on Friday. Paul closed out Friday, did a great job. There. You mentioned Hasty. We had kind of set that situation up for him earlier in the week. I said, hey, either Saturday or Sunday, we're going to start, somebody, and they're going to go 1 or 2. Then it's your deal for, 3 to 4, as long as you can go. And he was right about at 50 pitches. That's about the most I was comfortable taking him to that point based on what he's done, and did a heck of a job.
Coach, you speak about the bullpen, and I really want to ask a question about the bullpen and honestly the staff in general. How do you go about readying the mindset of the entire staff of kind of being able to be ready whenever your number is called? Because I know that's kind of a hard thing to do, especially with guys that come out of the pen and maybe used to being in a certain role or a certain area of the game, and kind of having guys understanding, hey, your number could be called at any point, be ready to go, and getting guys to perform in those situations.
Yeah, I think they learned quickly, like, we're not going to do this just how everybody else does it. And I think the opportunity to pitch is ultimately what they want. And they know that I'm going to pitch guys that I trust to come in and compete and have the ability to slow the game down and just execute the pitch. And so I think it's been amazing. I think Coach Kelly's done a great job with them, both physically, helping them develop pitch patterns and pitch sequences and an arsenal that can do something that can help us. And we have some guys with some good stuff, and they're just coming in and continually ready. They're recovering really well. So we're using guys, 2 times a week, and they're doing a great job. So, mindset is what this game's all about. You guys know that as elite players, and that part of our team is really, really strong mentally, and it's showing in their performance.
Coach, I've been meaning to ask you this for the last few weeks. You do something that's very unique. No pitcher is safe. There's no count that you haven't taken a guy out of. Is that is that a strategic move, or is that like, hey, I see what's happening, I can't watch this another pitch, I got to go out there and take him out? Or is it, okay, this is mid count, this hitter has a mindset of one thing, I'm going to go out there, I'm going to take him out with a 1-0 count and kind of flip the script on him?
It could be both. I mean, really, like I've taken guys out with 2 strikes to have somebody come in and strike a guy out, when we need a swing and miss. That really hasn't been the case this year. I think you kind of are plotting 2 scenarios in your head of like, hey, maybe we could get this guy through one more hitter, and then he throws a ball that misses a strike zone by 8 feet. Right. And it's like, this ain't it. You know what I mean? Like, let's make the move too early before we make it too late. And I stand by that. I believe that. And that this year, that's usually been the case. It's usually been in like a 1-0 or a 2-0 count.
Dylan Cruz had another unbelievable weekend.
Yeah, he's no good.
He is that home run. I was talking to him. Me and Jared were talking about it yesterday. That home run he hit yesterday. The pitch that was probably a ball inside.
And
there's not. I don't want to say there's probably 4 or 5 people in college baseball now that can hit that pitch out and hit it the way he did it. How special is he, and how much fun is it to be able to coach him? And you have him for a whole another year.
Well, I think I told you guys this. If I didn't, I've said it before. Like, I asked Scott Woodward one question in my interview: is that guy a draft eligible sophomore or not? Or am I going to have him for 2 years?
Makes sense. You hate the rules for that, Coach. I'm sorry he has to stay one more year.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, it's pretty awesome. I hope people realize how good he actually is, and I'm telling you, like, in the last 2 weeks, I mean, he has done something that has taken it to a whole nother level. And, he's so good mentally. I mean, physically special. I mean, he's so strong. He's so put together well. He's a baseball, he's Mike Trout of college baseball. You know what I mean? And
wow.
I mean, he's a great teammate too. Like I can't speak high enough about the character, but Chris Bryant is really like one of the only other players that I've had I could go to in the game and just say, hey, mentally or physically, just do this, and he can do it. He can do it immediately, and that's what great hitters can do.
Right.
And I mean, I've had a lot of good ones, and there's not many rolling around like that. So it's pretty awesome, and
it's fun to watch. It's fun to watch. And I mean, you have another one. Obviously, he's not a draft eligible. He's a draft eligible sophomore. You don't have him for another year. And Jacob Berry, and he went down. He has a broken finger. Talk a little about when did that happen? How did that happen? And when did what's the prognosis? I think that's the right word, right? Prognosis on the next few weeks.
Yeah, he was fielding ground balls in BP on Friday. And I guess I didn't see it happen. I guess one kind of came up and clipped his middle finger, which that happens. The infielder's mind is still
This explains your voice.
Yeah. So I think there's a couple things. The good news is, I mean, he played Friday, played great defense Friday, had 2 big hits on Friday. And I think if it was really, really serious, he would not have been able to do that.
Right.
So I think that's a real positive. Ultimately, it's going to be a pain tolerance thing. Now, he's a really tough kid. So if he can tolerate the pain, he'll be back in there and hopefully sooner rather than later. I would say he probably won't play tomorrow night would be my guess, just from a standpoint of where we were at yesterday. But I'll give him credit. The day after, I mean, he was taking BP and swinging the bat and hitting the ball over the fence. There's a lot of pain in doing that. So we got to be smart about this. trust me, nobody wants to play more than him.
I believe
and I know it. I know as soon as he can play, he will play.
Saturday, like you said, it was kind of one of those crazy, weird games that you just kind of chalk up as one of those things. But there's a couple things that happened later on in the game that kind of caught my eye. Bianco behind the plate, obviously. And I think it was Dugas playing third base for a couple innings at the end of that game.
Yeah.
What went into that? Obviously, I know Bianco has got a couple has some experience behind the dish. He actually looked pretty good back there. He looked pretty smooth, looked pretty comfortable.
Good.
Yeah. What's your take on that, and what was the reasoning behind that?
Well, first off, this is the most injuries I've seen in 1 year of coaching. Like, I'm really kind of at a loss for how hurt our team has been, and so I don't want to put our team in a position where we're hostage to something bad going. So we need more depth, especially at the catching position. And it was a good opportunity with Floyd pitching, I thought, to get him back there in a game. And I have no problem putting him back there now after watching that. So that was the first part of that. With Gavin, it hasn't been his year in terms of health either. He's had, food poisoning or a stomach virus or a thumb deal. And he's missed more SEC games than he's played. And we obviously want to get him back in there. As far as playing third, it was twofold. It was like, hey, if Barry's going to miss, a few games, let's see what this looks like. And then secondly, I've talked to him about if he were to return next year, I think it changes his profile if he becomes an infielder. So why not get a head start on that in a game that was already out of hand a little bit? So
I love that.
Wait, you talking about Barry returning next year?
No. He's talking about Gavin. You're talking about Dugas.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I wanted to ask you about Bianco a little bit. What was that conversation like whenever you had to, hey, do you mind suiting up and putting the gear back on and catching?
He seems like he'd be pumped for that.
Yeah, because he's obviously team leader.
Yeah.
Big morale guy. Crunk ain't dead.
He actually came to me about it. This was a few weeks ago.
Awesome.
I guess he tried it before last year in the fall or COVID situation with the catchers last year. And I was like, all right, we already got one guy out, Travinsky and McManus, we got to be careful with those guys. And so it was just like, hey, let's give it a look. And I'll give him a lot of credit. This year hasn't gone the way he wanted it to go. And much like Gavin, Drew's been hurt the whole time I've been the coach here. And so for him to get in and make an awesome contribution this week, and I'm really happy for him.
Speaking of McManus has been swinging a hot bat. He went oppo yesterday. Basically took the guy's glove off, went over the fence, and then he went off the scoreboard. So he's going both. He's going gap to gap. And I feel like he's kind of starting to get hot and figure out, feel comfortable up behind the plate, not necessarily catching, but at the plate hitting. Talk a little bit about him and how important that has been to the bottom of the lineup.
God, awesome. And the thing about his home runs, seriously, the thing about his home runs, they've all come when we've really needed a big hit. Like, these are not cheapies or Tuesdays when you're up 10-2. These are in the middle of SEC games that either extend our lead or get us back in a game or something like that. And thank goodness for the transfer portal. That's all I got to say.
Hey, he looks really
done
good.
All right in there, coach.
Yeah, he looks good back there. He looks good at the plate. Obviously Pearson has been. I feel like he's taken the next step. He's a freshman. He's young, but I feel like he's gotten past that I'm a freshman stage, and he looks the part. He's comfortable up there. He never looks like the game gets too fast for him. And you can see it by the results. But he's hitting 320 now, and he just puts together some great at bats. What have you seen that day in and day out? I know we've talked a little bit about him, but it's just, I think it's pretty obvious now.
Yeah, I'm way in on this guy. And I'll give you a little story from yesterday. I called one of my offensive timeouts with nobody on base that I know you love.
I love him.
I brought Gavin over and just said, hey, Dylan's 2 hitters away. You guys are 2 good hitters. This inning is not over with 2 outs and nobody on. And the first 2 guys went out on 5 pitches.
Right.
And Hasty was, into his 3rd inning of work or something like that. It's like, that dude needs to sit down over there for a minute. So, right. Gavin, we need a good at bat.
Tie your
and I
shoes.
said, Josh, this guy is going to throw you a 1-0 breaking ball. Okay, you didn't commit to your swing on it the last time, and you popped up to left field. I said, just keep your chest over the plate, and you are going to hit a home run on a 1-0 hanging curveball. And he hit the ball off the top of the wall.
That is awesome. Hey, he's going to listen to everything you have to tell him now.
Eye contact after that.
He's going to look at you and say, Coach, you can give me any offensive meeting you want after that.
And then it was like the only time all weekend Dylan didn't get a hit after that.
So. Coach, you have 2 weekends left. You have Ole Miss at home and then Vanderbilt on the road. You know, both teams, obviously Ole Miss, everybody looks at, you know, the standings. I don't really look too much into that because at one point this season, they're the number 1 team in the country. So they're obviously talented. They're Ole Miss. They don't like LSU. The rivalry is obviously there. You know, but it's an SEC weekend at home. What problems does Ole Miss pose, and what would you like to see from the guys leading up into the weekend?
Yeah, as far as Ole Miss, great lineup. Not a good lineup, great lineup. Old players. I mean, they actually, like 4 years ago, had the number 1 recruiting class in the country, and all of those guys on the position player side are still there. Like, I don't know how that happened. You know what I mean? And we played them. My team played them in the Super Regionals last year, so very familiar with those guys. They're playing great. They've won their last 2 series, swept this weekend. So I think they're kind of finding their way. I mean, ultimately, we're going to need to pitch and defend really well to stay with them this weekend and take good at-bats and expose maybe some of their pitching. So it's not really any different other than on paper, this is not what it appears to be. Right. You know, this is a team finding their way and fighting for their life, frankly. So I can't wait. When I saw the schedule, 2 things stood out. It made the back-to-back at Mississippi State, at Arkansas, and then finishing with Ole Miss and Vanderbilt. So I think this is going to be charged. We really need some fans out here this weekend. You know, but first things first, we're playing a good team that's in first place again in the Southland tomorrow night. So we got to take care of business.
Yeah, sorry, can't overlook. I don't mean to talk and overlook the
second
midweek
time he's
games.
done that to you.
I know. I need to stop. I need to stop getting to that trap. But we are talking SEC. Y'all are now 14-10 in conference. Right, you've put yourself in a position to not only host a regional, but maybe sneak into a super regional host. RPI, I think, is in the top 15 now, if I believe, maybe right at 15. I think that y'all are right in a prime position. You know, 4 weeks ago, some people may not have thought that's the case. Have you discussed this with the guys? Have you talked about it with the guys? And have you said, hey, if we keep doing what we've been doing and playing the way we've been playing, you're going to have postseason baseball in Baton Rouge?
You know, they all want to do it. I want to do it, but 8 games is an eternity, plus the SEC tournament. Like, it's not as close as it actually seems right now. You know what I mean? So for us, it's, you know, I try to, talking about mindset, only give them what I think they can handle. And frankly, that's about the play and what's in front of us. But let's make no mistake about it. We all want to do it. I mean, we're like 24-6 at home. It's a great home field advantage. We want to play here. We're doing everything we can to play her, but the best thing we can do to do that is to focus on tomorrow night, and tomorrow night matters in regards to what you're talking about. So,
well, I know you want to focus on tomorrow night, but we're fast forward a little bit to Ole Miss. Have you talked to Bianco at all about does he know his dad's signs? Or we get anything from the dugout? Is he relying on old habits? Do you have that conversation at all?
Yeah, no, I'm trying to, respect the space on that, and we prepare pretty hard. It's a little different dynamic than really anything I've ever seen or dealt with. But I feel like Drew's been at LSU for like 10 years, and so I feel like this has been going on for a while. I think it's a few years ago he had a home run against Ole Miss and all of that. So I know he wants to win and he wants to contribute, and I'm sure he'd like his dad to do well when they're not playing LSU. So no doubt. I'm not worried about any of that kind of stuff. Right. So,
Coach, we got Paul Gervais and we got Riley Cooper coming on to this afternoon, like at noon. Do you have anything you need me to ask them and talk to them about? Give me some background on these two guys. I know Paulie G a little bit, but I don't know Riley at all. So give me a little bit of background.
Two dynamic bodies.
Yeah, two complete opposite ends of the spectrum there.
Well,
you can say it. You don't have to be quiet about it.
The first thing I'll tell you is it'll be a heck of a lot more interesting than this segment. That's for sure. both great stories. Paul, started a Division III school and bounced back and has just kind of come into his own, doing a great job for us. Riley, he's kind of always been a stud. His high school numbers are ridiculous. I don't know that he ever lost or, gave up very many runs, that kind of thing. And then it was great for us last year. I think what's been cool about that is if you asked everybody on our team who one of their favorite teammates is, his name would come up a lot. He's got a great personality. One of the things I like about him, and this kind of sounds corny, but he rides on the bus I ride on. I have the front of the alphabet, and I'll hear him laughing the whole bus ride. It's so distinct. It's Coop's in the middle of something. You know what I mean? So great teammate. Both of them are great pitchers and huge part of the reason why we're having success.
Everybody that's come on the show that's part of the team right now has talked about, hey, you need to get Coop on. You need to get Coop on. He's funny. He's a great time. So I'm looking forward to it. Coach, big game tomorrow. I'm gonna try to get out there, get to the box and watch it. I have been trying to get the fans out in the box because
don't listen to him, Coach. He only wants to sit in the suites. He doesn't sit amongst the commoners.
That's not true. I'm
there every game.
That's not true. But I'm trying to get the box filled up because I know how much fun that is. And like I said, the weather's warming up. I think people are going to come out there a lot more. But good luck tomorrow. Good luck this weekend. We'll be watching, and we'll talk to you next week.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Coach. Appreciate it.